may I ask you this? If Ben Johnson's trying to bring what he did from Detroit to Chicago, do they have their Bears version of Sonic and Knuckles? Swift and Monangai.
The Bears have won 6 of their last 7, and Caleb Williams seems to be kind of clicking.
I'll tell you what he is, folks. You watch that game today, Howie, Mike, all of us were watching. This man has got some lower body strength that we've never seen before. You knew great things could happen, and they're starting to unfold right before our eyes.
Yeah, I would say it's must-have moments, and in those moments, it's nut up or shut up, and so.
Ben Johnson is really starting to find his groove in Chicago. The early returns were frustrating, but what do elite coaches do? They adapt quickly and solve problems, which is exactly what Ben Johnson did when turning the Chicago Bears run game from an abject disaster over the first 4 games of the season to an unstoppable force in the 4 games after the bye. Now, his Bears are cooking, but how did he do it? Let's find out. One thing we always knew was that the Chicago Bears offense under Ben Johnson was going to be unpredictable. And no, I'm not just talking about his trick plays. I'm talking about how much he has varied his overall game plan and personnel usage. For example, against Washington in Week 6, the Bears use 11 personnel 94% of the time, equating to 53 plays. That's with 1 running back and 1 tight end on the field, and therefore 3 receivers. But then, 1 week later against the New Orleans Saints, he mixed things up. The Bears increased their usage of 12 personnel from 3% up to 33%, beefing out the line with an additional tight end. And what happened when they did that? Well, the Bears absolutely destroyed the Saints on the ground, racking up 222 yards at 5.6 yards per carry. DeAndre Swift had 124 yards and a touchdown, while Kyle Monangai had 81 yards and a touchdown himself. Both players averaged over 6 yards per carry. Coming into the year, there was a lot of criticism of the Chicago Bears' decision not to make a move for a running back in the offseason. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery were so important to setting up what Ben Johnson wanted to do with his elite offense in Detroit, and Swift was literally replaced by them. To open the year, that criticism seemed well-founded, with Swift averaging 3.1, 5.2, 2.5 and 2.7 yards per carry over his first 4 games of the season. He was legitimately one of the least efficient backs in the NFL, and the Bears' offense struggled as a result. However, good coaches find solutions to problems, and my God, has Ben Johnson done exactly that. Over the Chicago Bears' Week 5 bye week, he completely solved their run game and turned them into a force. Immediately after the bye, they ran for a season-high 145 yards. Then, 1 week later against New Orleans, they hit a new season high with 222 yards. Then, in Week 9 against Cincinnati, yep, time for another season high, this time with 283 yards. Those 283 yards came at 7.6 yards per carry, by the way. That's almost a first down every time they ran the ball. I asked Suma Brain to showcase some stats to prove how impressive this turnaround was. Just look at these numbers. After posting negative EPA per rush in every game between weeks 2 and 4, they had been positive in every game since. Similarly, after posting just 13 explosive runs over the first 4 weeks of the season, Chicago then posted 26 over the first 4 weeks after the bye. Yes, I am aware that they weren't exactly going up against the best defenses, but still, this obscene rushing efficiency is no fluke. It is the result of excellent game planning by an offensive genius in Ben Johnson, figuring out how best to utilize his playmakers and then putting them in a position to succeed. Specifically for Swift, who struggles with his vision and navigating busy lines of scrimmage, Johnson has been running him to the perimeter more often, putting him in space and allowing him to use his athleticism. Ben Johnson is constantly mixing it up with tosses, sweeps, and even screens as an extension of the run game to put as much strain as possible on the defense. And it is working. Of course, in order to have this success, you need talented and willing blockers. The Bears definitely have that, with the entire offensive line doing a great job in the run game, but crucially, the wide receivers and tight ends getting stuck in as well. One of the biggest changes that came out of the bye week was the elevation of Theo Benedet to the starting left tackle position. He has his flaws as a pass blocker, but he's a menace in the run game, helping this rushing revolution take hold. Fantasy players were annoyed to see Rome Odunze put up a goose egg against the Cincinnati Bengals, but he still absolutely made an impact as a blocker. You don't run for 7.6 yards per carry without buy-in from everyone, and Ben Johnson has done a great job drilling the importance of this into every member of his offense. Of course, you can't win games only by running the ball, and thankfully for Chicago fans, there are clear signs of progression in the passing game as well. It was always going to take time for this offense to fully get to grips with the versatile and complex nature of Ben Johnson's system, and it may not properly happen until next year. But we have at least seen some very promising signs so far. Odunze opened the season red hot, logging 5 touchdowns over his first 4 games. True game-changing X-receivers are difficult to come by, but standing at 6'3", 214 pounds, Odunze is prototypical size, and on top of that, he is a fantastic separator and has already proven to be a great partner for Caleb Williams when he is buying time and trying to make a play out of structure. Unfortunately, drops have been a frustrating issue in what has been an inconsistent sophomore season so far, but it is crystal clear that this guy's ceiling is sky high if he can become a bit more consistent. Obviously, he has a long way to go, but the overall profile is one that you could absolutely see becoming a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. The same can be said for Colston Loveland at the tight end position. The former Michigan Wolverine was taken 10th overall in the 2025 draft, and after fellow rookie tight ends Tyler Warren and Oronde Gadsden both started the season hot, fans were eagerly waiting for Loveland to join the party. Well, he certainly did that in Week 9, bringing in 6 of his 7 targets for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. This, of course, included the dramatic game winner, in which Loveland brought in the seam pass from Williams, bounced off some horrendous tackling, and galloped all the way into the end zone for the score. Loveland absolutely fits the bill as a true 3-down tight end, who will block well for the running backs and prove a matchup nightmare in the passing game. His route running was a major asset in college, and we're starting to see signs of that special trait now in the NFL. The 100-yard outing against Cincinnati was just the start of what is surely going to be a fantastic career for the tight end. Between Odunze, Loveland, DJ Moore, Olamide Zaccheaus, and Luther Burden, this is clearly one of the most exciting and young groups of offensive playmakers in the entire NFL. When you add in Kyle Monangai, you get 3 rookies and 1 sophomore in Odunze, who all get to grow with Caleb Williams and will all benefit from playing under an offensive genius in Ben Johnson. He showed his value by completely revolutionizing this run game mid-season, and it is incredibly exciting to think about what he can do next. But what do you think? Are the Chicago Bears contenders already? Let me know what you think in the comments.